so proud of him. You know, I have to be honest. I'm a bit worried about our daughter getting into college. It's so competitive out there, and I feel overwhelmed with where to start. I completely understand. Listen, I felt the same way. And then I met Dr. Gina of Education Prep Centers. She put a plan in place that helped our son stand out in the admissions process and that gave us a peace of mind for how to create a financial roadmap for his future. Wow, that's great. Sounds like I need to give her a call. Yes, she definitely helped our son find the perfect college, meet all his deadlines, and help us feel less anxious about the whole process. You need to reach out to her. Just check out educationprepcenters.com and set up a complimentary assessment with Dr. Gina. You'll be so glad you did. Education Prep Centers. College admissions made easy.
Let's be honest. Wheelchairs are heavy, bulky, and ugly. If you carry a wheelchair in your car to take care of a loved one, you know how hard it is getting that clunky, old-style wheelchair in and out of your car. Introducing the Feathershare Wheelchair. At 13 pounds, it's the world's lightest wheelchair. It folds in seconds and fits neatly in your trunk, backseat, or closet, so you can take it everywhere. And it's only available right here. Order yours today and get a free wheelchair case, a $50 value, yours free. The Featherchair. The world's lightest wheelchair is just $4.99 with easy payments as low as $16 a month. Sorry, no Medicare or insurance accepted. So call right now to order yours.
800-823-5826. 800-823-5826. 800-823-5826. That's 800-823-5826.
Hey, there's something you forgot to do. It sure is hot. Are you sweating like a dog? Wait, what? Dogs don't sweat. Oh no, you forgot to get your window tinted. Whether it's the kitchen window that sits in the sun for the hottest part of the day, or you just got new wheels, call Sharp Window Tinting in Burleson. 817-615-9379, or look them up on the web, sharpwindowtint.com.
Wilfred Brimley for Loafing Dog.
I'm Wilfred Brimley for Loafing Dog. You know, when I get the hankering for a hot dog, I go to Cleveland, Texas. Just a couple blocks off the square, they got Loafing Dog. They got the Neely Dog, the Mary Sunshine Dog, the Casey Dog, and the Shirley Dog. Why, they even got the Pacer Dog, the Brooklyn Dog, and the Jim Dog. Can't forget the Shane Dog, or the Joy Dog, and the Monty Dog. I like that fool. The Nakia Dog and the Braxton Dog round things off. Why, they even got a kids menu too.
Loafing Dog, 208 East Chambers Street, Cleveland, Texas. Lunch, catering, or takeout, plus outdoor seating. Phone number is 817-556-1040.
This is Wilfred Brimley. And don't forget, Loafing Dog won't give you diabetes.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395.
The voice of Johnson County, Joco Community Radio.
Oh my goodness. Finally, we're back to football. Welcome everybody to After the Whistle. Let me just start off. I know y'all see some guests in here. If you're online, you know the drill. If you've been watching the show, drop an L for live. If you happen to be watching this later, drop an R for a replays. That way we know what you're doing. And honestly, guys, we want this show to be interactive for those of you that know. Man, I've missed you guys. Like, I don't know where my little camera's at, like up there. Hey, I've missed all you guys. So for people that don't know, we have, first off, I had some health issues. A lot of folks didn't know that. So I'll address that really, really quickly. I did have, so I had a little heart condition. A lot of people didn't know that I suffered from COVID. And, one of those people that COVID kind of got me and almost took me out and messed my heart. And so 2 years later, they decided to do a little bit, they did a ablation procedure to get my heart to beat right. My heart was going off beats. And during that ablation procedure, something broke off and I had a minor stroke. And so it kind of took me out of the game. Yeah, I know. I am old, people. I know I don't look old. I am old. Okay.
I'm the oldest person here.
But I had a small little stroke, and upon having that stroke, it kind of took me out of commission just a little bit. But outside of that, I'm really, really glad to be back. Second thing, elephant in the room, you may notice our logo changed a little bit on there, and you may say, what is Northwest? Well, let me tell you. So those of you that don't know, for me, I'm a board member with the Burleson Elks, and this off season, we made the decision as a board to join a new football league, which we're going to talk about today for everybody to know in Northwest. And man, we are excited to be a part of it. We thank you guys for allowing us to be a part of that league. And you guys are going to hear all about it. Our reasonings, we'll talk about this little foreshadowing next week. We will talk next week. And if you live in the city of Burleson, I'm going to tell you, you want to tune into next week's show. And that's all I'm going to say. Is that fair, Mike? That's fair. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, I'll just say that. But that being said, we do have some awesome guests here. Thank you guys. I see a lot of L's dropping in here. Granberry's already on. BYA Raiders are already on. Who's controlling the Raiders? Steve. So you're gonna pop on and say okay, and then got LYSA on. Guys, this show is about you as the parents and the family, Northwest, and obviously it is about Pee Wee football, and it is time. We've had certifications. Last one, the final roll call, I guess, is this Saturday, correct?
Yes,
and that is in Burleson, right?
Yes, sir.
So just real quick for those of you that make sure, what's up, Coach Kevin? Make sure that you are at certification, because if they are not there this Saturday, no bueno, right?
No bueno.
All right, so can't play. So that is at Burleson. Check with your local towns for your times. It's going to be at the Whitley building. Is that correct? Off of Summercrest. Check with your towns for your times. Make sure you're there. Make sure your little one gets certified. We want to see them absolutely out on the field. But that said, our guest of honor. I'm going to start with my right. Please introduce yourself, work your way around and what you do, and let's talk a little football today.
All right. My name is Mike Hernandez, and I'm the president of Northwest Texas Football Youth Association.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is really Mike Hernandez, live and in the flesh.
Yes.
Next.
I'm Jen Morillo. I'm the executive board consultant. I'm kind of the catch-all, and I keep everybody in line and keep everything organized.
Now that was like a title right there. Like, you're president, but executive board I mean,
she does a
bro.
We don't have a long enough show for what she does for us.
Thank you, Mike.
I need that title, executive board consultant. That's going on my business card from here on out.
Okay. You could have the work too.
No.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a lot of work behind that one. Yes, my name is Felt Benjamin Jr. I'm the referee liaison for Northwest Texas, and I'm also the president of the Wasatch Youth Athletic Association of Tomahawks.
Now, when you say referee liaison for all of our listeners, are you the guy they complain to?
I catch some of the complaints, but
I put him on the spot early. You notice that, right?
Yeah, but I hand them off to the actual the referee group that we actually hired in order to do it. So I basically hand it off to them. I kind of the catch-all and try to figure out, okay, what's worth complaining about, what's not worth complaining about. And then, hey, these are the problems. Hey, coach, this is actually in the rules. You got it wrong.
Awesome.
You got it right.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we're going to go over some of that stuff today. Thank you guys for joining us and telling us, we're going to go a little bit over about Northwest Texas and what it is. And so let me just ask you guys this, just kind of starting off. Tell me about, first off, how many board members are in Northwest Texas? How many are serving on the actual board that, I know we have how many town reps?
2 town reps.
For each town.
Per each town.
Yeah. So
we'll talk about
26.
the number of towns. 26. Wow.
Plus the officers, because I don't think any of the officers are active town reps at this time. We've had that in the past,
right,
but none of the officers are town reps.
No.
Wow.
Yep.
So 30 plus alternates, because most towns have an alternate. So I think we've got like 40 people that I deal with.
Man,
on a regular basis. Yeah.
Goodness great. And so how many board members total?
There's 26 executive board members and then also the president, vice president, secretary,
Parliament.
and parliamentarian, and then me. So 31,
Man.
not counting the alternates.
So it really takes a village. That's awesome. So I just want to ask, because being kind of coming around the youth associations for a little bit. So this board is ran by the town reps, right? Is that the way it works? They vote on everything. They pass everything. You guys just catch all the grief.
Yes.
Talk me through that. How does that work?
Well, just like any other organization, they control the votes. If anything, comes to a tie or something, that's when I come in, and then I do the deciding vote. But it is time consuming in meetings, just like anything else. We have to walk and talk through every situation. So especially with that many people, it's a handful.
It's a handful
for my job.
It's less efficient than a group of 5, like some leagues, but it gives everybody a voice and everybody equality in the league.
Sure. And I noticed, so I was at I think it was a coaches meeting, right? That we were at. And what I did notice about that group is that you got a lot of veterans, right? You got a lot of people that have been around, been around Pee Wee football for a while. And of course there were some new people in there, but what I got the vibe in that room, and once again, not knowing everybody, but everybody cared for success for everybody, if that makes sense. It felt like that it wasn't about, my team's agenda or my team's agenda. It was about, okay, what's best for the kids, what's best for the organization. And there were several times where you would get up, watch you get up and really take control, like, nope, this is the way this is going to happen, and this is why this is going to happen. And for me, that shows good leadership, right? I mean, leadership is the key. And so let me ask you this. How long have you guys been a part of youth sports? That I'm always curious to hear these. Mike's about to date himself right now. I can see it.
For me, I've been in youth sports since 2013, 2014. Everybody knows my boys. So that's how long I've been in this this type of work, because it is work. At the end of the day, it's work, and it's volunteer work. But I love it, and I do it for the kids, not only my kids, but just to see the progress throughout the years. And I'm not here to say anything, but I coached through BYA, the Raiders, and I had about 17 to 20 kids that I had for about 8 years.
Man, that's awesome.
Yep. So I did it for them. That's what I do for them, and now moving on for all the organizations.
Yeah, I can tell you also as a coach, and I know you coach as well, that to me, that is the highlight. I'm very fortunate this year that I'm with our 12U group, and a lot of them are going into junior high. And I'll be honest, our first practice, I almost got a little emotional, because I'm like, man, some of you guys I've been with since 2nd and 3rd grade. And it's just like to watch them grow up and see the friendships. I mean, I've got people that I've made friends for life with through Pee Wee football. And that's what, if there's anybody listening that you have not signed your child up in any, and we'll go through the towns, any of these towns that are part of this league, maybe you're catching us because a friend shared it out. To me, that's what sports brings, and especially youth sports. They're never perfect. Nobody's ever perfect for sure. But the friendships and the camaraderie and the relationships that get built. I mean, I was telling people, thank God we had rain that came in yesterday. And some of us canceled practice, some of us didn't. For me, we had to cancel practice because I started bus route at 5 o'clock, and I joke about that, but I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it for anything, being able to go pick up kids and drop kids off. And those make some late nights sometimes, and early rushing to get out of the office and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I cannot wait to see what they do in the future. And this small little part is part of it. So I'm with you on that. How long have you been in youth sports?
This is my 18th season in youth sports. I'm a grandma. So.
Oh, bless you.
Yeah.
18 years. So have you always been involved like on board levels? Have you coached cheer, football?
I've coached cheer. I've never coached football. I've kept a couple of stats, and down sheets, which gives me a new appreciation for you guys. But no, I've always been like kind of behind the scenes. I've been with Brazos, and then with North Texas
Okay.
as league level, and then at this league, I was there when we had our first meeting. So,
Wow.
yeah,
That's amazing.
I'm the only OG left.
The OG. That's her new name, OG. For here on out. If next time, Sean, but we got the OG coming next week. Junior Ortiz says that's one of the best parts of watching these boys grow together. Junior, I completely agree with you. And once again, if you are watching right now, drop an L. And if you have a comment or you have questions for the board, this is a great time to ask them. Number one, they can't go anywhere. I've got the door shut, so they've got to answer your question. And number two, and someone else may be thinking of the same question, and we want this show to be interactive. Coach, how long you been a part of Esports?
I've been actually officiating youth sports since 2006.
Wow.
I didn't actually start being a part of an organization until 2013.
Okay.
And so I came in as just at a coach level, saw different things, being a referee, seeing different how things are done in different cities with other youth leagues, just being given a chance, an opportunity to change things for the better for whatever the situation is. Like in Waxahachie, it was just one of those things as I see these a lot of kids and they can get a whole lot of more things given to them at their fingertips when it comes to an association. So back in 2016, myself and Mike Langford started the Tomahawks organization.
Awesome.
And so we just wanted to build it on basically a good, strong foundation. And not gonna lie, it's probably the best thing that I've done so far, except for having kids.
Man,
Same.
I love hearing that. I wish I could say every person I've ever come across that's worked at youth associations say words like that. It's some of the best thing I've ever done, but that's not always true. That's Mike, you probably know that from dealing with it. So let's get down into it, right? Let's talk a little bit about Northwest Texas. Why Northwest Texas? When was it created?
Our first meeting was in February of 2010.
Okay.
I remember. It was weird. I remember everything about it. I wrote down, it was Brock, Alito, Weatherford, Crowley, and Burleson Youth Association. That's who all met.
That was the original people.
And then the next month, actually Springtown was there, but then they didn't come over. Nothing bad, but they just waited. And then Granbury joined in March, and those 6 towns were like our core towns the first few years.
Man. And some of those core towns are back. We'll talk about that in a minute, which is cool.
Right. Yeah. And not just to state facts, like there was like not enough regulation at one league, without saying league names because I don't want to. And then there was too much regulation at another. And those were the 2 leagues that the towns came from. And we wanted to find like a common sense middle ground. And so I think we've done that pretty well.
I mean, obviously, because you've stuck around, right? I mean, there's organizations that start up and they fold. And, here's what I say to any youth organization out there, anybody that's willing to take the time to put something like that together, that's awesome because it just shows where their heart is. And so obviously this organization's grown a lot, and we'll kind of talk about that. Mike, when did you take over as president?
Last year in January, but I've been part of a town rep since probably about 15.
Mm-hmm.
I was a town rep for Burleson after my first or second year. Shout out to Kim and Sam Valdez and Burleson.
Yeah. Okay.
They groomed me. They're real OGs. They groomed me right. So, and then I just kept going to these meetings, and then I don't know if I got suckered into it, but last January I became president.
So what? Let me ask you, what if you could sum up, and I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, what is your vision being kind of a newer president for Northwest? I mean, where are you taking us, right? I mean, because yes, there's, I think you said 30, 40 people that are part of like the whole committee and board, but somebody has to lead the ship. I mean, that's just what it is, right? And that is what you're doing. Where are you taking us? What's the goal? What's the plans?
First of all, it's not just me. It can't just be me. It's a collective with these executive boards and the consultant here where we're going. We do want to get bigger. We don't want to get big too fast. And we did a lot of, all that came apart this season, in the off season. I think we navigated through it well. I just don't think, big is good right now for us.
Sure.
Not saying we don't want to get too big, but you got to control. You got to be able to control that room, like you said. You were in the coaches meeting. That's a lot of people to handle, and to be a part of that. And what we're doing now, I think we're moving in the right direction. Of course, year over year, we want to grow. That's where we're going, and I think we got a good program. With everything we do, and people are seeing that now. So,
oh yeah, I agree. And Coach, I want to ask you, so because obviously you run Waxahachie, and what do you like as a board member from, obviously I know you're serving on this executive board and stuff here, but what do you like as far as running Waxahachie? What has kept you and led you with Northwest? I mean, because let's face it, I mean, you've got prime youth leagues, you've got other rec youth leagues, you've got, I mean, there's a lot of competition out there for our kids to play football with if you really look at it. I was blown away. The thing that blew me away the most about Pee Wee football is how many parents think that their kid's NFL Sunday ready right now. I mean, I'll tell you, it blows my mind that hey, I know, I'm sure you guys have people in this room. I know people that have come through the Elks that I haven't coached, but Coach Kevin's on here, Coach Andy. There's Duke playing down at Texas right now, so I definitely know there's kids that come through these organizations that are ballers, right? But it seems like every parent. But what's kept you here? What's some of the things about Northwest that maybe there might be some people out there that are looking to come over that you would say, hey, this is why you should consider it, or at least apply to come over or have a conversation? What's kept you guys over here?
Well, pretty much just the feel of the room is not just at one town more important than another one. It's always okay. Even as you come in a new member, you might not get a vote, but you come in and you can have a voice.
Sure.
And I think that's the biggest part of being in within any organization is having a voice and being able to voice your opinion about whatever is affecting your town that may affect another town. And also the whole aspect of the officers of the board, they're really officers just to guide us. They're not there to basically inflict rules on us that we may not want or may not need, or to try to push a certain agenda down our throat. And so I think that as running an organization, that's what I look for, is that, hey, every organization that is within Northwest Texas has a voice and it will be heard. And also the simple fact is that there's nothing that gets changed in the middle of the season as far as rules wise. That's been one of the biggest things I've heard with other organizations, is that they go into a room and all of a sudden now, since one town doesn't like something, and this is not pointing any finger, just there's a lot of stuff that's on the Dallas side of the Metroplex, that a lot of things happen that way as far as one town that doesn't like a rule, and so in the middle of the season it gets changed, and to better help and assist them. Northwest Texas has stayed very consistent when it comes to letting towns be heard, and also being consistent with the rules once they're set. Once they're set at the beginning of the season, there's nothing that really gets changed.
I think that's awesome. And the Raiders posted here on through Facebook said the best part of watching these kids playing Friday nights and walking up to the high school practices, and these kids recognize you and they still call you coach. And that's cool.
That's exactly what my husband said for years and years and years. Some of those grown kids still, hey, coach. And he's like, hey.
So tonight, what's up, Michael? Michael Rodriguez said hi. After we go here, I have a meeting that I'm actually going up to the high school with Coach Kitten and them for their practice tonight. And honestly, I haven't got that clout yet. I've only been a part of youth sports for about 4 or 5 years now. But that is one thing that I'm really looking forward to, is watching these kids play. I hope they all go off to college and play. But for me, I want every kid to be a good, productive member of society. And, I believe I have a saying with my group and my team, we talked about it this year, there's no big I's or little U's, right? Mm-hmm. And I actually got that saying from my pastor many, many years ago growing up. I used to hear him talk to people about that. And it's something that's always stuck with me, And so one of the things that I hope for our kids is that, they go off to do great things, change the world. But I can't wait to see some of them play on Friday nights.
Well, and there's a lot of lessons with football that aren't even about football. So even if your kid's not going to play college or NFL, it's so valuable.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. So let's talk about the towns. I was told you can name them off.
I think I can name them
all right,
off.
Let's go. You don't have to go in alphabetical order unless you really want to.
It actually makes it easier.
Let's do it.
The Burleson Youth Association, Burleson Boys and Girls Club.
Yep.
Ennis, Ferris, Granbury, Kennedale. Okay, this is where I'm gonna. Okay, LYSA, Lake Worth, Midlothian. I'm gonna hate myself if I forget somebody. Red Oak, Richland Youth Association, Saginaw Youth Association, Midlothian Youth, and Waxahachie.
Best one for last.
You like being at the end of the list, don't you? Like,
go.
Yep.
So
I think that's everybody.
I think you got them all right.
Yeah.
I think you did, which is that's incredible.
I've if y'all knew how many background checks and books I've worked on already, that's why I know every town.
And I'll just tell you something for me that I've thoroughly enjoyed. Schedules are already out. For those of you that are listening that maybe you didn't know the schedules are out, oops. But they're out, and you can go to the website and you can click on it and see the schedules, which I know you had a lot to do with that, right? With the schedules, and which is really awesome. So people know where they're already going, and we're not finding out week one, which, and that's, as a coach, I can't tell you how awesome that is. We've got scrimmages coming up. I've been hearing a lot of people are scrimmaging. How many people are coming to Waxahachie? Do you know off the top of your head on the 20th?
We have a total of 9 teams in Waxahachie. We're going to have 9 outside teams coming.
9 outside teams coming to and that's
cool.
on the 20th.
Mhm.
And I think the Raiders are scrimmaging tomorrow night or tonight or tomorrow night.
We're scrimmaging tomorrow night. We're scrimmaging Grandview.
So we're
cool.
full swing. Like
Yeah.
we're rolling.
Chisenhall, if anybody wants to come out, Grandview.
I'll be there at the camera.
Is playing 12
Tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night at Chisenhall. The
Chisenhall.
baseball fields.
What
But
time?
6 o'clock.
Will there be a tower for a camera? Sorry, Manor coach came out.
Well, you don't necessarily need a tower. Just get a drone.
Just a little drone?
No drones. No drones.
Drones aren't legal?
Drones are illegal.
Hey, if you see a drone, it's not mine. Right? It's from the baseball field.
There you go.
Obviously, both coaching. We got 12 you coaches in here, man. So there might be a week it gets a little testy in here for those of you guys watching online, but that's okay. That's part. No, I'm just kidding. No, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm just part of the staff. I'm not a head coach, so it's a little bit down this year.
Yeah, it's a little toned down a little bit this year.
For me, absolutely.
No, I know that well, I've got a lot of friends that are over the Raiders, and some of them we share an office with, and we were talking about that, and I'm really, really excited about scrimmages taking part and kicking off and going like that. Let me ask you this: the season coming up, there's been growth, right? I mean, the Burleson Elks have been added, Granbury Pirates added, Midlothian Panthers added. Those were the 3. Was there anyone else? And then you had some people that wanted to be added that just
LYSA came back.
LYSA. That's a Castleberry River Oaks area.
River Oaks.
Yeah.
So 4 groups, new groups, and then I also know there was groups that wanted to come that right now, because of what you said, you just don't want to grow too fast. That may be looking at coming in the future. What's that shaping up for the season to be this year? I mean, number one, I love competition. And I think that that's going to be great. But what are some expectations for the season, for the league, that you guys are looking forward to? I mean, when I've seen the schedules and seen all the different locations of games, and guys, if you don't have nowhere to go on Saturday, just go look on the Facebook page or go look on the website. There's somewhere for you to go to watch football games on Saturday if you want to. But do y'all have any expectations or any thoughts on the season? Or are we just along for the ride?
I just like the competition level just been raised. It was already good competition over here anyway, but I mean, the competition was so good, and then more team came that we really had to open the playoffs up to not just being 7 teams getting the playoffs. We had to open up to 8.
Yeah, and
so that was, I think, as much as I fought it, I think that it was a good thing to do as far as with the growth that we had, because that's what's going to be so important this year is that defense is going to be very important. A 5-3 team can be out of the playoffs just because of the defense.
Yeah, and I was looking at that, as a coach, you could have, depending on how schedules and stuff line up, I mean, you could have a 5-3 team or maybe even a 6-2 team if you got a couple teams that are really good. Even a 6-2 team could be a 6 or 7 seed this year, right? And that's good. That's competition. I won't put you guys on the spot, but I would assume we're going to relook at that in the future years. But yeah, I think I'm with you on that. That's one of the things that I was most excited about. And there are teams that when I've seen the schedule, we didn't get to play.
I know. We can have a longer season if you guys want.
But one of those things that I've seen is the healthy competition, and we're not even playing everybody. Like, that's crazy.
And there's so many returning teams, but we're 50% bigger than we were last year. So we're also going to have a lot of new teams, and I love that.
I do too.
Because you just don't know what's going to happen.
I do too. And we got a lot of people. I mean, Douglas said, great questions and great answers. Ronnie says hello to everyone, great show, and also says go Burleson. So the good news is every time someone says go Burleson, I'm just going to assume they're cheering for the Elks unless they otherwise state the Raiders.
Y'all flood that, guys. Y'all flood that in there.
But I'm telling y'all, you want to listen to next week's show. That's all I got to say. I mean,
I'll be listening.
Get your popcorn ready.
Get it ready. We're going to address a lot of rumors next week. I will tell you that as far as that goes. But guys, I told y'all this first segment was going to fly by, and we're almost done with it. They're about to cut me off, but in the next segment, I really want to kind of talk about some of the rules of the game, right? That the Northwest has. Some things y'all might want to let parents know. Talk about games that are coming up August the 27th, 2 weeks away. So if you guys listen, stick around. We will be right back. You're listening to After the Whistle. Thanks for joining us.
If you are trying to quit drinking or doing too many drugs, listen to me. You don't know me and we'll never meet. I had a problem like you once. I drank and used to party a little too much till it got out of control and almost ruined my life. I realized I needed help to fix my problem before it totally destroyed me. If you've tried to fix your drinking and drug problem and you know you can't do it alone, you need to call the National Treatment Advisors. They'll immerse you into a 30-day program to replace your old habits with new habits and totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more. 877-247-1581. 877-247-1581. 877-247-1581.
Out of deck carpet giving you the blues? Tired of your old dingy and broken tile? Let my friends at the Floor Store in Cleburne, Texas give your home the makeover it deserves. This is Old Taco Joe coming to you for the Floor Store. Whether it's carpet, tile, wood flooring, or real wood laminate, the Floor Store can cover all of your flooring needs. Located at 405 West Henderson Street in Cleburne, Texas, owner Brent Harris can help. Shower tile, tub surrounds, even backsplashes. Give them a call today at 817-641-9444. The Floor Store, they got you covered.
When you're hungry for tender brisket or some delicious homemade cobbler, then look no further than Leach Brothers Barbecue, located at 1106 East Henderson, Cleburne, Texas. Leach Brothers has been family owned and operated since 1950. Take it from me, Taco Joe Orwinski. Todd and his family have been filling my belly breakfast, lunch, and dinner for a long time. Heck, I even have my own booth, open Monday through Saturday, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Come see them for dine-in, carry-out, and all your catering needs.
You're listening to Joco Community Radio.
See, I told you all that break was fast. I mean, not even time to really get a drink of water for sure. So, we got people wanting name drops right here already. So,
yeah, I've been getting that a lot.
So,
yeah.
who's DJ?
DJ, he was the former president for Northwest Texas. I learned a lot from him. So shout out to DJ Royals.
Shout out DJ. We'll have to get you here in studio and hear all the wonderful stories about Mike. I bet there's some good ones out there.
Just in general. He's got stories.
Let me thank our sponsors real quick. Joco Community Radio is proud to be the voice of Johnson County, Texas, and on the live 365 TuneIn Radio Network. To listen or watch, simply go to TuneIn Joco to choose where and how. The Joco Community Radio app is now available for free on Android and Apple devices. Just simply search your store for Joco. You can check out our lineup and more on jococommunityradio.com. This episode of more is brought to you by Patriot Claims, making your insurance work for you. Reach out to your Texas sales rep, Nona Reed, at 844-TEXT-HAIL. That's 844-839-4245. And then it is also brought to you by Versus Uniforms. Any of you coaches out there that need uniforms, feel free to reach out to Versus at 817-308-6064. You'll see some of their uniforms in actions this year. I know a lot of people were super excited about Kennedale's uniforms. We brought those over, and so we're excited for people to see those uniforms that we're doing for some of the teams here in Northwest Texas. So excited about that. Now, before we get into our next part, you guys were talking a little bit in the break and just kind of casually blew by the number of teams that we're going to have playing football this year. That's a big deal. So what was your highest total that you just said that y'all used to have?
The biggest year we had was 75 teams.
And how many this year?
We have 100.
Man.
But there's an asterisk to that,
Okay.
because our cutoff is 31 players, but we had some exceptions this year, and it rolled into like 15 teams that are like 32, 33 players.
My word.
So we really could have 115 teams. And that's a huge jump from, and we weren't even at 75 last year. That's like biggest in history. So I think we were at 71 last year, and now we're at,
I mean, you're talking about 20-25% jump in number of kids easily.
And the teams
if
are
not
bigger
more.
this year.
Yeah.
They're so much bigger.
That's
So,
crazy. Michael asked a question if there's any teams around the Roanoke area, Trophy Club Roanoke area. I don't know if there's anyone up that far north.
Saginaw is the closest.
Saginaw.
We're getting a little.
Getting out there a
churn
little
out
bit.
there, but nothing yet.
And then Ronnie said, "Go Raiders." Woo-hoo. I'm just kidding. I love the Raiders, man. I've got some good friends over at the Raiders. So that honestly, I had like several questions about rules, but when you talked about the number of kids on teams, I'm just going to ask the first question. So parents pay for their kids to play, right? And one of the things that as a coach that I always deal with is playing time. What are the rules for playing time here? I know them, but I'd like if you guys would explain them, and we can talk through them a little bit, because it is a little bit different how it's monitored, if that's the best way to say it. So what are the rules for playing time, and also cover regular season and playoffs, because it is a little bit different in the playoffs, correct?
I'll take that one.
Sure.
It's just pretty simple. Well, Jennifer, she makes down sheets in the book, so each coach has a down sheet for each game of the year.
regular season.
Season.
Okay.
And then we'll get to the playoffs. You got 3 plays per half per player. So that's any play from special teams, extra point, any play counts. They have to be in the game for 3 plays per half.
And flag is 4 per half.
Yeah.
Flag is 4 per half. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. I didn't know that. That's awesome. And kind of tying into this, one of the things that this league does is that every location has to have 2 directors on duty. Is that at least 2 bare minimum? And at half, those books are supposed to be checked. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes.
They check every half.
Mhm.
At every half, the director, the DOD will go check over, make sure everybody's got their plays in, and then they'll continue on.
So I had never heard of that until we were in the coaches meeting, and I heard that on there, and obviously, had some questions that got raised on that, but I think that's incredible because we are rec football, right? We're not prime leagues or select football and stuff like that, and the fact that it's done by half. Number one, it's going to make sure kids are engaged in the game, right? And I'll just be honest, I've seen in just my short time in youth sports, people that won't play kids until either the game's well in control or well out of control, right? And for me as a parent, I'm thankful that my son is I would say a pretty decent football player, so he doesn't have that time. But one of the things that I try to do with all of our kids is make sure they all get a lot of playing time, especially if they can play the game. Now, I don't want a kid getting hurt, if he's saying he doesn't want to go in, but if they're out there to play the game and their parents have paid, they should get the opportunity to play. And when I heard that in the meeting, I was like, man, that's kind of cool, right? I mean, it's like, hey, there is some accountability. Now I know that's for all you parents. Let me just go ahead and say this for them, and not everything's going to be perfect, guys. And so if it's one of those things, you think your baby didn't get enough plays at half, obviously, there's I don't know if it's you they go to or who they go to or goes to the coach, but the reality of it is that this board has put in measures to make sure kids can play.
Yes.
And that's all you guys can do. I mean, y'all can't coach every team, right? You can't do it. You can't be every place. You can't be. That's what the director on duties are for. And I think that that's awesome. So who came? Has that always been a thing with the 2 directors, or who came up with that?
Well, that was something that we saw in other leagues.
Okay.
But they had too much control.
Okay.
So the refs have control of the field, is the way we say it. The DODs help control everything around that field and answer questions for refs and give clarifications. That's why I make a field book for every field with all the rules.
And these field books are on site, correct?
Yes, every home field, all 13 of them will have a field book, and every team will have a team book.
So it's nothing that I mean, guys, first off, if you're watching, if you haven't dropped an L for live, if you watch a little bit later, drop an R for replay. And some of you may be wondering, I just need to throw this in this way my scatterbrain works, so forgive me for this, of why we chose Wednesday at this time slot. Number one, most everybody practices Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday during the fall, and Friday night is Friday Night Lights, and Saturday we have games, and Sunday is church. So we chose the 4 to 5 o'clock time slot for number one. What we hope is, parents, when you are picking your kids up from school, you throw it on the radio station. For those of you that don't know, if you're new to the After the Whistle show, this show will turn into all about the kids. So starting next week, we'll be going through the towns and letting the towns introduce themselves and things of that nature, so you can get to know the towns. But when football season starts, we plan on having kids in from flag all the way up to 12U. And, when there's, someone throws for 4 touchdown passes, has 2 interceptions, couple of fumbles, they're going to be sitting in these chairs, and we want your support behind them, because the reality of it is that's what this is all about. That's what we all signed up for the kids. I'll be having multiple co-hosts. You'll probably see some of these guys back with me. We will be having prediction on games, and I'll just tell you my track record right now is about 90%, so you can all thank me later on that. And so we'll be having game predictions and stuff like that. It's going to be a fun season, but I'd be remiss not to throw that in there of what's to come for the shows. We're doing Burleson next week. We're going to have both Burleson towns in here next week, and a lot of cool stuff to talk about what's going on in the city of Burleson. So Doug, just answered your question. Burleson's up next week, and then games start on the 27th. And so the following Wednesday from the 27th, we will have a rundown of scores. We will talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. If there's stuff that the board feels that needs to be transferred down to the parents, this is going to be a great information place that you'll hear it live, and you can even ask questions. And we want this to be interactive, and you guys have been great as an audience today as far as being interactive, but make sure you're sharing it on your Facebook pages and things of that nature. So there's my 3-minute soapbox. Back to the DODs. So we have those guys on in the 3 play sheets, 3 plays. Let's talk about, Coach, I'm going to start with you. So one of the things that I've seen with Pee Wee football, sometimes some parents get a little too enthused. We'll say it that way. And sometimes that bleeds to the coaches. So I did notice that there was I don't want to say a rule change, but something that was put in the rules this year that coaches could actually be fined for certain things and even potentially not coach the rest of the season. How does that translate to parents? How does that talk to me a little bit about some of those things of how we're going to keep this game fun and clean and excited, lots of competition, but at the same thing is we're making sure that the kids are out there not seeing stuff that's going to be on the 5 o'clock news.
So pretty much how that plays out is that if a coach gets ejected for foul language or for whatever reason for unsportsmanlike conducts, the actual fine goes actually onto the association and not just the coach. And the coach is going to sit out for 1 game. So he's going to sit out the remainder of that game and then the following game after that. If he gets ejected for the second time, he will then be done for the whole season, and the association gets another fine of $100. And so why that's important now is that if the fine isn't paid, your whole association is not eligible for the playoffs. So
that's big.
So then it's up to the association to go to their coach if they wanted to recoup the money, which I'm letting everybody know in Waxahachie we will be recouping the money from the coach. So
you hear that, Waxahachie? Yeah, I can tell you we'll be doing that as well too on our side. That's 100% for sure on there. So I mean, missing the playoffs, and that's any age group, right?
Any age group, it's for the whole association. So
and that's for any monies owed. So
any money's due, any dues.
Any dues.
Yep. So we work with them to make payments throughout the season. We know a lot of smaller towns, especially, they generate their income throughout the season. So those all have to be paid when you walk into the playoff meeting.
Yeah.
Which is the Sunday after the last game. So it'll be October 30th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like that. I didn't even know there's a playoff meeting. So they come in, they pay at that point in time, and if not, they're just excluded from that. Now, would that mean another team would go in, or is it just be one less team? kind of put you on the spot with that one, huh?
We've never had it happen.
Never had it happen.
So,
Okay, good. That's good.
So,
That tells me there's
yeah.
good towns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What are some other rules that fans and maybe some coaches that are new over to this organization that they should look out for, that's something that's monitored by the board, that's really, emphasized? I know that we had a referee that was at the meeting, and he talked quite a bit about it, and I believe one of the things that was talked about was only the head coach really talking to the referee. How does that work on game flows as far as being monitored? And it sounds like you guys had a lot of these refs for many years, if I kind of understood correctly. What's the game flow like as far as what we need to be looking out for out there?
Well, pretty much is like as a coach, you want to basically relay to get information from the referee on your sideline. If something bad happened on the sideline, you don't need their defensive coordinator and other coaches, drilling the referee because they didn't like a call or trying to get information on it. That's really just for the referee to basically have one point of contact. He can talk to other guys if they have questions, but when it was one of those things, it's a heated moment or things like that, he really just needs to hear strictly just from the head coach. That way, the one person's got to be in charge.
Yeah, I got you on that. And, some of the things that I found a little bit different, I'm just going to kind of go over for our parents that they know. We just did weigh-ins and certifications and stuff, and there are rules to the people that can run or catch the football. And so just so you guys know out there, 7U, the weight limit is 85.9 pounds. So if your little baby weighed 86 pounds, unfortunately, they won't be running the ball. 8U's 95.9 pounds, 9U's 105.9, 10U's 115.9, and 12U is 135.9. And so if your child came home and they were wondering if they were under the weight, there you go. That way you guys know who can and can't be running the ball. Cody says RY Royals, and Kristen says, hi, Jen, best executive consultant.
Yeah. She used to be our secretary.
Oh, what's up, Kristen?
And her husband is DJ.
Oh,
Our past president.
Cody.
So you're saying that we shouted out the husband, but not the wife, man.
And you know why he's so great.
Oh yeah. See, all you have to say is that. And then Eric said, replying to Cody, we just want coming to understanding the season. We want everybody's to be at everybody's homecoming game. And I know homecoming is a huge deal this year for a lot of people as well. So y'all mentioned something at the start of the show, and I don't know if this is like breaking news, but I do want to talk about it before the show. I mean, we're already kind of flying through here. There's going to be an all-star game.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about the all-star game. I think that's cool. I've always heard of all-star baseball, right?
Mm-hmm.
And stuff like that. What's the all-star game going to consist of? I assume it's by age group. The divisions play each other. How's it going to be chosen? Walk me through that. And if you kids are listening, you might want to listen up right here, and you coaches.
Well, I'm just going to start and say I'm the big advocate on this, but this guy right here, he's putting it all together. So
okay.
He can talk about that.
So pretty much, this has been one of the things I've been pushing for since we kind of got over here. But what we're doing is basically it's going to be like the North and the South, or East and West, however the conferences are broken up.
Okay.
Each team will have 3 players that they can submit for the All-Star game. One of those players has to be a lineman. We want to get the lineman love, so we don't want to have a team with a bunch of skill guys and no
coming
linemen.
from a big guy. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it doesn't mean you only have to get one lineman. If you got 2 linemen that are very good and want to send them to the All-Star game, then that's great. Coaching staffs will consist of one coach from all the teams, and they'll have one central location where they'll practice at.
Okay.
And the All-Star game will be pretty much played after Thanksgiving.
After Thanksgiving.
After Thanksgiving.
And the Super Bowl is the week before Thanksgiving. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So the 19th, November 19th.
November the 19th.
Yep.
So, and it's funny, I was talking to some of our parents about it. So one other thing about this league is practices started in July. Right. And I know some people were conditioning, but actual practice could start in July. And I was telling some of our parents, it's like, buckle up, because you're going to be here at least till the end of October. And some of you might be here till the Thanksgiving. That's a long season.
Yeah.
That's
right?
football.
That's football.
absolutely.
There's nothing like it. And when I think about it, so I'm sure every family has their routines and stuff like that, but for me, my family, every year we go to Disney for Christmas, and that countdown always starts at football season, because it's like, here we go, right? I mean, this time's about to pop like this, and it seemed like just the other day we're putting the pads on. Now we're talking about scrimmages coming up next weekend, and then the 27th is the first games, and now we're even already talking about all-star games. It's going to be here before you know it. So I know we don't have the location on the all-star game, but I do know that we're going to be making uniforms. There's several people that are submitting bids for uniforms, and you guys are looking for sponsors for that right now, right?
Yes,
So if you are a business owner, or maybe you're a parent and you just want to invest in the youth of tomorrow, y'all heard me say it earlier, there's no big eyes or little U's when it comes to youth sports. Get a hold of one of these guys here. I'm sure they could go through the Facebook page.
Or info@nwtyfa.org. They can email us or message us on the Facebook page.
Make a donation. Here's what I can tell you. I'm sure there's going to be hundreds of people, if not thousands of people, that watch this show over the next week. And if every person on here gave a couple of dollars, uniforms would be paid for.
Absolutely.
Right. And you want to see the power of people do something like that, right? And that's what I'm telling you. And obviously, if you're a business owner, or if you wanted to get a tax write-off, this is a non-for-profit. I'm sure they can get you a tax write-off right there. This is about the time you want to start getting those end of the year write-offs. We need uniforms, and this will be flag all the way through 12U, correct?
Yes, sir.
So we'll need flag uniforms. I mean, we're probably talking 100 kids?
No, we're talking about 300.
300 kids.
To play the All-Star for flag?
No, across
just
the
total.
Across the
Total.
board, yeah.
300. So we're going to need 300 uniforms, guys.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Sorry.
That's awesome. I mean, that's I mean, it's its own Pro Bowl game, right? Guys, don't disappoint. I mean, this is our first live show here. I'm calling you out, parents. I mean, even if it's $1, right? $5, get a hold of these guys. Get that sponsorship going, because number one, we want this all-star to be game. And here's what I would love to see happen. So Mike, I'm about to put you on the spot here. But I'd love to have a whole bunch of sponsorships come in, to the point y'all might could call some of these bigger stadiums, maybe TCU, or maybe Cowboy Stadium, or the Star, or Arlington, that we could actually play these all-star games at a huge stadium. And guys, for the folks that are listening online, let me just preface, because I didn't ask. I don't think you guys are all getting salaries.
I do get paid
You
partially,
get paid for a consultant. But for the most part, people aren't getting paid here. And last that I checked, you're probably not getting paid.
I do more for free than I get paid for. That's
so with that being said, there's not a whole lot of money that's out there to go to, like a ballpark in Arlington or TCU. I mean, I'll get in trouble for this, but I mean, we're getting priced out of our own high school stadiums right now.
Right.
So much less,
we're
going to talk about that next week too. But much less trying to go to a stadium. But you know what? These are your kids, right? They're my kids. You guys want them to play somewhere like that? Blow these guys away with donations, right? And I promise you, this is a good group of people that's going to put that money to good use. And maybe it's not this year, maybe it's too late, but we can put that money to use for the All-Star game next year to the stadium. But at least let's get these uniforms covered and paid for. Eric Anthony Gomez says NWTYFA best league in the business on the non-select side of Pee Wee football. Great job, executive board. And that's cool. I mean, when you get shout outs like that, that means that you guys are doing something right. You know what I mean? Now, unless you guys paid him to shout that out, but we don't talk about that there. As far as that games, but I love the concept of the All-Star game and what's going to happen and the donations there. So we're coming into season. We got a few minutes left here to talk about the season. Who are some? Do y'all know the Super Bowl winners from last year? Can we go over them for each age group? So I just wanted to give some of these newer towns some teams to kind of look out for, right? And guys, one of the things that helps with supporting while she's pulling that up, just getting out to these games, right? Just getting out to Waxahachie and paying your small entry fee to get in and buying something from the concession stand, that goes a long way in youth organizations. I tell people all the time, for some of these kids, and you guys are going to hear me harp on this about getting out and supporting the kids. I know there's some kids on my 12U team that this is probably the last year they play football. I know it. They may not know it. And I'll be right there supporting them in junior high, but it's a little bit different when they walk through the junior high doors and mom and daddy aren't paying. Yeah. And for me, my motto when I joined the youth sports that I've wanted to do was I want these kids. I'm telling you, man, I love the All-Star game because I want these kids to feel like they've played in the NFL. When coming over to Burleson and stuff, one of the things that, we didn't have a big blow up balloon and we went and raised the money to get it because just running through that tunnel makes all the difference in the world to some kids. Right. Our field over at Burleson, Rick Stone takes care of our field and man, he does the excellent job he can. But when we just don't have a lot of funds behind it, so I went and found a robot that paints our field so we can do hashtags and lines. And last year was the first year we did it. And you just should have seen the look on kids' faces because they're like, holy cow, we're playing on a real field. And that's exactly what's going to happen with the All-Star game. Yeah. Some of these kids are going to get out there and we all need to keep that in mind. And you guys will hear me say this on After the Whistle almost on every show. I don't think there's been a show that said it yet. For some of these kids, this is the best they're ever going to get. And my hat's off to you guys for what you guys are doing. But parents, we need you. We need you guys to get on board and let's help make this experience great. Let's make this All-Star game fantastic. And it's already going to be fantastic, whether it's played in Waxahachie or high school or college stadium. But I'd like to do something special. I really would. I think it would just be awesome. So contact these guys. I'll have you give that email address out again after we talk about. So let's talk about our last year's Super Bowl winners.
Well, in 5U, it was Waxahachie Granger, and he's a 6U coach this year.
So moving to 6 year. Okay.
Flag. 6U was Waxahachie Patterson.
I'm noticing a theme.
I see a theme.
That target's getting big on our back, guys.
So now the All-Star game is us versus Waxahachie now. Is that what it is?
And then in 7U, it was Saginaw Vagari. And that was his 3rd Super Bowl win.
All right.
So he's 3-0. Yeah, he's 3 for 3.
So far. And he's going to 8U. All right. Okay.
It was a Weatherford team in 8U, Weatherford Garcia. 9U was Lake Worth Cody.
All right.
Coach Cody is back in 10U this year in Lake Worth.
Okay.
And he's been pretty dominant the last few years too.
He's real competitive.
Really competitive.
Coach Cody's team is something to watch.
And they're going to 10U, right?
Right.
Okay. 10U
and then
Lake Worth.
Our 10U last year was Saginaw Barnes.
Okay.
And he's coaching 10U again this year though.
Yes,
isn't he?
Is he?
Yeah.
He's on my schedule.
He's in 10U again.
No, he's in 12.
Is he 12U
Barnes?
Barnes?
No, 12U.
No, Morgan and Barnes are the two Saginaw.
So there's 2 Saginaw teams now.
They've got 2 in every age group except for 9U.
Did they have 2 last year?
No, not in every age group.
Okay.
They grew this year.
Gotcha.
And then RY Razzo, they won their 12U.
They went out on top.
RY Razzo.
Yeah, they did.
Mm-hmm.
Good job.
Mike
Coach
remembers
Rizzo.
that. Mike remembers that.
Mike, I'm feeling a little discomfort here on that.
Hey, we did the best we could.
He just had a close-up view of it all.
You were field level. Okay.
Field level. Absolutely.
Well, what's unique is because I know that obviously doing my scouting reports, I know Waxahachie played in that Super Bowl last year, going from there, and here come the parents. Go RYE Razzo 12U. So hey, we want to hear you brag on your teams. Now I'm just going to tell everybody when I make my predictions, I'm going to make them very fair, honest, and you may not like it, and that's okay. That's why you have a voice to tell me that you don't like it. And if I'm wrong, one of the things that I will do for all you parents that I make predictions with, if I'm wrong and a team goes out there and they just wipe the floor with someone else or they beat a team that they're not supposed to beat, in my opinion, I'm gonna have them all right here the next week. And I'm gonna tell them, hey,
I say you said you have a 90%.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell them there was only one team
right?
last year that I had to do that to, and they sat right here, and they proved me wrong last year. And you know what?
You probably enjoyed that, didn't you?
Well,
depends on the team.
Yeah, it depends on the team. But guys, we're running out of time here. And first off, let me just once again say thank you. Give that email address one more time for people that want to sponsor.
It's info@nwtyfa.org.
Okay. So guys, if you need that, and if you didn't get that, go rewind the show, here at the end and watch it. And once again, if you're not sharing this show out, that is another way that we can also pick up sponsors. Make sure to share it out. I am beyond excited for football season. I can tell that you guys are. I love football. To me, I told my wife, I was like, hey, so my birthday was last week, and I'll end it on this. I said, you know what this Sunday is? She's like, what? I said, it's a big deal. She's like, what? And I said, last Sunday without football. And you know what? That is where I'm at on this thing, right? We're about 2 weeks away from having no Saturdays without football. Guys, get out to the scrimmages. Get out to Waxahachie on the 20th. If you want to see some teams out there, go support the Raiders tomorrow night in their scrimmage at Chisholm Hall. And more importantly, get behind this league because you're going to see some fantastic stuff. This has been After the Whistle. Thank you guys for joining us. And, man, we look forward to a great season. You guys have a good evening. Bye.
From Burleson to Venus and Grandview to Godley, this is the voice of Johnson County, Joco Community Radio. At Romika Designs, we're more than just a laser